there. I'm your host, Leslie Randolph. I'm a self-confidence coach for teenage girls and the self-confidence coach you wish you had as a teen. Honestly, I'm the self-confidence coach I wish I had as a teen because I know I could have saved myself and my mother a whole lot of heartache if I'd only known then what I know now. I hope to save you some of that suffering by sharing the lessons I learned late in life right here on Why Didn't They Tell Us? Welcome to the show.
Hey, happy people. Welcome back to Why Didn't They Tell Us? Well, it's official. It's the most wonderful time of the year. If you've been to Target or Costco lately, you know it is officially the most wonderful time of the year. And for some, and this includes my 9 and 10-year-old children, that means gifts. But for others, that means giving. And let's be honest, for most of us, it means a combination of both, right? And regardless of what camp you're in, this season offers us the opportunity to express gratitude and to feel grateful. As a self-confidence coach for teens, I know how important this is. Gratitude is a powerful, if not one of the most powerful confidence cultivators, which is why I am so excited to tackle this very timely topic of gratitude on today's show and to welcome my amazing guest who is going to help me do so. And I have to say, this is like a very full circle moment for me to welcome Meredith Rivkin to the show. Because as you might remember, a year ago, I had the pleasure of interviewing her mom on the show, Jill Rivkin. And Jill helped me talk about the power of gratitude. Jill is one of the founders and founding board members of Gratitude Generation, a nonprofit organization that is on a mission to instill gratitude in future generations through education and service. Now, full disclosure, I have the privilege of sitting on the board of Gratitude Generation, so I am 100% biased in thinking that this organization is doing incredibly meaningful work that's not only making the world a better place, but also supporting our kids' mental health, and I'm going to say, creating confidence within them. Well, Meredith, today's guest, embodies this mission. A junior in high school, Meredith literally grew up with Gratitude Generation, volunteering with the organization since she was 9 years old. Today, Meredith serves as the president of G2's Teen Board, which gives leadership and service opportunities to teens from 7th grade to senior year. I am so excited to have Meredith here today to talk about the power of gratitude and to talk about it from two lenses, the feeling of gratitude and the act of it. What happens when you allow that incredible feeling to fuel you, to give to others, to share your gifts with the world? Meredith, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. And I said this to Meredith before. Meredith is my first teen on the show. And I think that that's so fitting because I obviously think you are an incredible teen. So really, I mean it. I'm grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
So let's kick this off with your story. If anyone had tuned into that initial episode, they got to hear about your mom, the grateful gal, who just like eats, sleeps, breathes gratitude. What was it like growing up with Gratitude Generation? So many kids do after school sports or theater or cross country. Service, giving, and practicing gratitude was one of yours.
Well, I would say that Gratitude Generation for me was definitely an out of the box extracurricular, especially when I was in elementary and middle school. But I also used to do gymnastics, so I had other extracurriculars and other stuff going on. But early on, before G2 HQ, which is like our official headquarters, was established, there were so many projects going on in my house. Like, I remember sitting on my carpet in my living room so often, sorting school supplies and like sorting a bunch of donations that were dropped off at my porch because we had no other space to hold them. The early years of G2 were a little foggy, but I was on the kids board, which then evolved into the teen board. But since we didn't have a space, I like vividly remember meeting in the back of the Heinen's grocery store. We had to walk through this path to get to this back meeting room. It was surrounded by bananas and whiteboards. That's what I remember.
Amazing. We'll do gratitude anywhere.
Exactly. But I didn't really realize it then, but my mom and the other moms were really creating something that would become so significant. And now, as I've grown up with gratitude generation, I realized how important it is.
Yeah, and I'll just back that up. We since the inception, so it was 7 years old. This one organization that's like the little engine that could, and I won't even call it the little engine that could, has it's partnered with over 200 friendship nonprofit organizations and schools and businesses. It's impacted over 40, I think we're at 43,000 people. I mean, it's incredible. And it started on Meredith's family room floor sorting pencils. Um, I
Exactly.
mean, you've been in the trenches with it, and be honest with this one, was gratitude, like practicing gratitude and giving, something that you embraced like early on?
I would say sort of.
Thank you.
I definitely participated in all the events and everything, not just because my mom was founding the organization as I was acting in it, but looking back, I didn't fully comprehend the effects of those events. I sort of just like did it automatically. But now that I'm a teen, I can continue to see how doing these things starting at such a young age really helped create a foundation for a childhood of gratitude. And generally, as a kid, I was very appreciative for what I got because I am and was very fortunate to get a lot of things that I wanted, but I wasn't especially grateful for what I already had. So,
Mm.
gratitude generation really taught me to be grateful for the small things and what I already had, not just what I'm continuing to get.
Oh, I love that distinction. Yeah, we can feel really grateful, and this is so timely, right? We can feel so grateful on like during Hanukkah or on Christmas morning or on our birthday when we get. But I think that that's a beautiful distinction that you've made. Gratitude also reminds us that the goodness that exists right here and right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And when we think about that, even from like a confidence standpoint, right? I sometimes talk about my listeners will say like as soon as I call it the as soon as and the not enoughs as what can get in the way of confidence, thinking that like as soon as I get the part in the play, as soon as I get this grade, as we get older, as soon as I get married, as soon as I get the job, then I'll feel self-confident. Versus being able to accept what is good right here and right now. And I think that that's really what you pointed out here.
I feel like you really have to go into it with the gratitude and the confidence and come out with it as well, but not just come out with it.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. So why do you think it's important? And we'll look at it from like a teen lens, but I also love what you've said. So I'm gonna throw one at you. Um, why do you think it's important to instill gratitude from that young age, even before you knew the foundation, as you said, that was being laid, and also with teens?
I feel like it really shifts your thinking. I think that practicing gratitude makes you feel very grateful for the things that you wouldn't normally give a second thought to, especially as a child, these things that you're just given, especially now these days. Like, I was just given, like, I grew out of my crib, but that would just seem like when I was a child, that would just seem like normal for me. Like, that's what happens. But now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm very grateful that I grew out of my crib and I got a big old bed. um, but I feel like it also, as a teen now, I feel like it also improves your mental health, especially because we live in such an intense world with so much pressure and intense emotions that being grateful for just the little things and making you think about all of the good things in the day really like helps you find the silver lining in a bunch of different situations, even if they seem terrible. Practicing gratitude helps you find the little good things.
I love that. I agree. It does. It changes your thinking. And when we think about the power of that, I mean, that's all that we do. Confidence is a mindset, right? And it's training your brain to see the good that's within yourself. And that's where that self confidence comes from. Gratitude is a mindset. It's training your brain to see all the goodness that you have. And even like on the hardest of days, I love what you said. There is a silver lining everywhere. And if you make a habit of training your brain to see it, you'll be able to find it with more ease.
Yeah, exactly.
So for you, what positive outcomes have you seen like in your life through doing this work and in how it feels to do it, but then also like how you feel? You talked about like teens' mental health. Do you think that that supported you personally?
I think that it definitely supported me, especially since I was in middle school when COVID was happening. There were so many different things going on around me, including a pandemic. So having that past gratitude practice really helped me think like, yeah, there's all these people getting sick outside, but I'm grateful I haven't gotten sick. I'm grateful for my house and my food, that I don't have to leave my house and I can keep all of this stuff here and not have to worry about it. But through like the teen board specifically, I feel like me as a person, I've gained a lot of leadership skills. This is my 8th year on the teen board, I believe. And it's taught me so much. I've learned communication skills, how to market myself, how to speak to adults on behalf of the teen board like I am right now. Even before I
It's
was the
so cool, Meredith. It's so
yeah.
cool.
Even before I was the president, I just found myself a natural speaker. So I was asked a bunch of times to address parents at meetings, or one of the important parts of the teen board, one of the expectations is that we go around to businesses and ask for items for a silent auction. So the teen board really helped me learn how to go up to strangers and just ask for things or just start a conversation. I worked at the anniversary gala for, I think this is going to be my 3rd year doing it. Now I'm on a podcast. So it makes me pretty proud of myself to think that I'm doing something good for myself and the community.
As you should. It's so cool. Yeah. And I had the pleasure of talking to the teen board recently about cultivating confidence. And I think one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if you'll remember when I said this, when you walk into gratitude generation, and I mean obviously this is a big plug for gratitude generation because it's awesome. But for anyone listening that doesn't live in Illinois or, near the North Shore, this is also just the power of practicing gratitude and using and giving service opportunities to teens, young adults, tweens, young kids. I mean, at Gratitude Generation, we have programs that you can do at 3 years old, setting that foundation. It When you walk in that room and you remember it's not even about you, that it's about the gifts that you can give, your time, your energy, your sometimes physical labor to make the world a better place. When you focus on that, it makes it really hard to have some of those other emotions take up your emotional real estate, right? Like you might walk in to G2 thinking about, a fight you had with a friend or some drama that's going on. I'm sure this was also really true in middle school. But then when you're there, it like it naturally shifts your focus to something that's so much bigger than you. Do you agree?
Yeah, exactly. I would say when you walk in G2HQ, there's always something going on. There's always a project. There's like 8 service events a month. There's always something going on, and there's always something else that you can think about that will take away from the other negative emotions in your life.
Yeah. And I will say this to anyone that's listening, it's not that those feelings go away, but when you then, focus your energy on something else like giving and like I said, using your gifts to help others, when you come back to those emotions, when Meredith gets back in the car, it's not like that fight with mom or the friend drama has gone away, but you're able to look at it from a different lens and it probably doesn't feel as big as it did when you walked in.
I was 100%. If no matter what happened when you walked in to a gratitude generation event or to G2HQ, you're always going to come out thinking that it's less, and you're always going to be like, wow, although I'm mad at my friend, I'm really grateful that I have them.
Totally. It embraces one of my favorite concepts of like both things can be true. And if we have gratitude as one of those feelings and one of those focuses in our mind, it just it makes everything better. Um, why would you recommend this, obviously gratitude generation, there's so many opportunities, but why would you recommend like practicing gratitude or giving back to other teens?
I feel like, as I said earlier, as a teen, it definitely improved your mental health. And you just feel like the things that seem so big in your life aren't that big anymore. But also, one of like the G2 coin terms is the glow. It stands for gratitude lights our world. And I really think that that's what really demonstrates the feeling and the act of gratitude. You really get the glow when you're done doing a service project, or you really just feel grateful for everything that you have, no matter what the service project was. If you're making popsicles for dogs or packing bags of food for people who are homeless, there's always something that you can be grateful for coming out of that event.
Absolutely. And even, people who can benefit from that can feel that glow of giving back. Like anyone can be a giver and anyone can practice gratitude. Um, I was reading an article recently and I believe it was Lori Santos. Lori Santos is a professor who during COVID put her, and I'm going to screw this up, I think it's Yale, her Yale course of the science of well-being and happiness on um online so anyone could take it. And I ended up taking the science of well-being and happiness for teens as part of my, just continued curiosity of like how do we improve teens' mental health? How do we build up that confidence? How do we lower some of those other emotions? And one of the things that she had said, and you've actually hit on two of them. One, it costs nothing to practice gratitude. Like that is free. It also costs nothing, and this is a great plug again for G2. This is going to be our G2 commercial. It costs nothing to volunteer with G2, right? You get to come to these service projects and do all of this for free. That's why we do things like galas and fundraisers, because that's how we can afford to pack those backpacks, to give those meals, to do all that. There is no cost to practicing gratitude. One of the other things that she said, and I'm going to go on a tangent here, Meredith, bear with me, was it also reminds us that we matter and how important we are. I can't think of anything that cultivates confidence more than just recognizing like you as you are, you just being here, that makes you enough. That makes you worthy. Um, I'm sure I've shared this story before on the podcast, so bear with me, y'all. Uh, One of my high school teachers retired a couple years ago, and he was so beloved. And we went into the auditorium of my old high school, and I mean, I graduated a long time ago, but so I got to go back to my old high school, and I got to listen to him talk, and we had this big celebration to honor his retirement. And one of the things that he said, and it just struck me so much as someone who works with teens, was like, all teens want to know is that they matter. They want to be heard and they want to be seen. And I think when sometimes we go about that, and especially in this day and age of social media, we look for that in ways that don't fill us up. I can't think of a way that fills you up more than seeing like, I matter. Today I did something to spread that glow, to make the world a better place. Does that resonate for you a bit, Meredith?
Yeah, of course. As a high school student, I completely agree.
We just want to be seen and know that we matter. I love that. This is a great segue, and I'm sure we've covered all of them, but you give so much to G2 and to others through the work that you do. What gifts has it given you?
I think that in the teen board specifically, since it's such a wide age diversity and so many different schools and so many different people, I've made so many other relationships with other teens. I learned how to communicate with teens that are younger than me and teens that are older than me. And there's people who were on the teen board that graduated that I still keep in contact with that I wouldn't know unless I was on the teen board. And I think that I also really learned how to successfully plan and execute an event. One of the important parts about the team board, one of the important aspects, is toward the end of the year, we split up into groups based on issues that we see in our community or in the world that resonate with us. And we plan like a G2 event to solve it or to help with it. So I actually hold another leadership role in a different organization, BBYO, which is a Jewish youth organization for teens. And G2 has taught me so many things that I transfer over to there. The leadership position that I hold in BBYO includes me planning and executing weekly events for other teens. So G2 taught me how to really plan and go through that entire process that I can now carry over to BBYO too.
I mean, look out, world, right? Like Meredith is gonna just take over. It's so cool. And all these skills that, I mean, ultimately, that this is what we want for our teens to feel like they have these tools and these skills to then go out in the world and be so successful. And I love that so many of them you learned from an organization that truly started on the floor of your family room. And now, you get to it's a lot of gifts. It's a lot that is going to serve you later in life as well, while making the world a better place.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. So at the top of the show, I talked about gratitude from two lenses. The feeling of gratitude and the act of it. So I think of like how important it is to feel that feeling, right? Just to practice that gratitude, to again sort of train our brain to see the good. And then when we allow that feeling to fuel us to give back, why do you think both are important for teens? But I'm going to be honest, for all of us.
I think that the act itself is about giving your time and giving your energy to do something for yourself that'll make you feel good, but also for somebody else in the community. So I think that it really makes you selfless, and it really creates that feeling of gratitude for what you have and what you can do to help others. And then when you feel that gratitude, you're more likely to want to help others in the future. It's healthy for you, it's healthy for your family, your relationships, and like literally everybody around you, especially when there's so much negativity and just down energy in the world. The feeling of gratitude helps sort of compensate for the other heavy emotions that teenagers and adults have every day.
100%. And yeah, and you hit on it. It doesn't take away from what's going on in the world. I think it just makes it like a little bit more manageable. I can think of gratitude almost like a like a really powerful prescription that changes your brain chemistry in the most positive of ways, right? Um, I think you hit that on the head. Uh, I have one last question for you. Uh, do you do any? I mean, you do a lot of service, right? And you do a lot of work with G2. Um, all volunteer. I mean, I hope everyone knows Meredith doesn't get paid for this. This is like she said, her extracurricular. Um, do you have a gratitude practice that you do in your house?
I think for me personally, at the beginning of every year, I try to start a different journal. So this year for Hanukkah, actually, I was given a one question a day journal. It's not directly about gratitude, but it just allows me to like take a moment and reflect on my day every night. I do it right before I go to bed. So there's a bunch of different questions. There are some that's like, what's the best thing that happened today? Or it's like, what's your comfort food? But my comfort food, mac and cheese. I'm grateful for mac and cheese. Um, Also in the past, one of the other journals that I did was a sentence a day, like a good thing, like a sentence of one good thing that happened that day. So even if the day sucked, I can look back on it right before I go to bed and think, oh, this was good. Oh, I liked my meal today. I noticed I noticed a lot in my journal entries of the days that kind of sucked. The good thing was the food that I ate. But I think
Same.
that even if it's the food that you eat, it really makes you think about there is that one good thing that happened that day. There is the silver lining. Whether or not you realize it, it is good for your mental health to journal, to practice gratitude. For me, it's sort of my one question a day is sort of like a mindless thing that I'll answer. But if it's a really tough question, I will take a couple seconds to think about it, and I will really consider like I guess the answer to that question and like how it affects my life.
Yeah, and to take that moment, right? Like when we take the time to practice gratitude and to as Meredith so beautifully said, like to focus on it and change our brain. I always say at the end of any day, and particularly for my teens can resonate with this, but y'all, I think we all can. When you lay your head to the pillow, your brain is going to tell you everything that you didn't do, everything that you said wrong, everything, every way in which like the day went wrong. And I think that that's just our negativity bias doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But we train our brain to look for the good. We train our brain to see what went well. What are those silver linings? And a deliberate journal prompt like the one Meredith is offering, it makes it easy to be like, hey, brain, let's focus on this. So I love the idea of journaling. You better believe journaling is a big part of what I do with my one-on-one clients. Because again, we need to make a habit of telling our brain the good. And the same way, just to tie this always back to self-confidence, the same way we can see the good in the world, if we choose to focus on it, we can also then choose to see the good in ourselves and focus more on our strengths, our gifts, and our goodness versus what our brain might always point out as, the thing we said wrong, the faults or the failures. I love a habit. I love a habit of journaling. And again, that deliberate moment of practicing the gratitude. And it might not always even feel like gratitude. It might just be a moment to tell your brain, like, let's see the good. And when we look for that good, no doubt we feel grateful for it. Well, Meredith, I loved having you on the show today. Anything else you want to add to close it out for us?
If you live around, come to Gratitude Generation.
Your mom would be so proud of the spokesperson you are. Absolutely. Especially as we approach the holidays and, are feeling thankful, are giving and receiving, because so many of us are lucky enough to. No better time to check out gratitudegeneration.org. We have so many free events for you to give of your time and your energy. Like I said, for kids as young as 3 to 103 and up. So please do that, but find somewhere in your neighborhood if you're not around here. I mean, Meredith could be a poster child for the gift that is gratitude and that glow that it gives us all. And I can't think of a better foundation to set for our kids and for our teens. Meredith, I'm going to tell you one last story. I do this. I go rogue. We just did a big campaign actually for my school, not even for Gratitude Generation. And we were getting 400 boxes of pasta, 200 boxes of crackers, all these things. And I will tell you, I brought my daughter with me. This goes back to that first question that I probably asked you. I brought my 9-year-old daughter with me, whose holiday list could probably circle the sun if we printed it out, right? I mean, she wants a lot and she has a lot, right? And even as we were doing all this, she was like, "Ooh, can I have this? Can I have this?" And I want to just say to all the parents, and I know I mentioned this with Jill on a year ago show, gratitude is a foundation and it starts with planting seeds. Meredith probably, I would assume, though she's not going to probably admit to it, when she was packing those school supplies or those pencils as a 9-year-old, was probably like, "Ooh, can I have one?" The same way my daughter is like, "Ooh, can I have one?" When we went to the grocery stores last night in the different shops. It is seed planting. And if we plant those seeds, the world gets to benefit from their blossoming in like incredible humans like Meredith. So y'all check out gratitudegeneration.org. I will put that in the show notes. Meredith, my friend, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
My friends, why didn't they tell us that gratitude is the ultimate confidence cultivator? It reminds you to see the good in the world, to see the good in yourself, and to be that good out in the world. If we are looking for ways to remember that we matter and that we are important, there is no better way than to give your gifts to others. It's free and it feels so good. Till next time, my friends.
Love what you hear? Well, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me at confidencecoachforgirls.com. That's confidencecoachforgirls.com. Or email me at lesliethelifecoach@gmail.com. That's lesliethelifecoach@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you.